Okay, let's focus again. So, in 2013, yeah, my girlfriend started to have these kind of weird symptoms. Me too, like kind of convulsions. Very likely did create convulsions to my brother. He has to be he has to be revived in the clinic. He was. We went to a clinic when he has the convulsion, and they say you gotta take him to the hospital because they need to they need to resuscitate him. You know the electric shocks, and they took him to an well, my father, yeah, took him to another center that was not around the corner, but to a hospital, and yeah, they were able to revive my brother. But it was likely caused by one of these technologies because it was not a normal convulsion, and it was, as far as I know, one episode. And my father used to have, yeah, he was already, let's say, he was probably identified. Now that I know more or less how this works, then mm, that's a possibility, something to leave to the historians. Now, mm, when I was here in 2013, after I applied to the refugee visa, I started to receive calls every day, and calls of people that will not answer. Yeah, and for me it was very weird. I will be playing video games, I will receive a call, I will say hello, no one will talk. Okay, and then twice per day. Okay, but after a month, I was like, okay, this is getting weird. I had been receiving calls every day for a month. Yeah, but believe me, if you are a person who doesn't own anything to anyone, if you're a person who has no quarrel with the law, who knows that have done everything under the law, who knows that maybe you die, and even if you don't believe in God, you know that you have been such a good person that God will be at. You don't even need to pray to me. You're a great person. Enter to the heaven. If you are that kind of person, you wouldn't care about, the big state shadow people persecuting you and hurting you, trying to torture you. You wouldn't care because you will think, okay, this is a more developed country. Obviously, they are not savages. The savages are like the corruption that happened in Colombia, blah blah blah. Yeah, that's what you think. But what I have discovered is totally opposite. It's like, oh, this person don't dominate. This person is naive. This person is a sheep, and I'm the pastor. Then I'm the shepherd. You are the sheep. This ideology. You go to the main gallery of Victoria, the main place in the main room, in the main room of the National Gallery of Victoria is the dead sheep. And this is this kind of sacrifice rhetoric of a good soul, naiveness, tenderness, the victim that has to suffer, the weak that has to suffer, is ingrained in the Australian symbology. The Catholicism stuff, the Lord is my shepherd, etc. AI doesn't care about that. AI is smarter. So this again, those who don't know, that we have to deal with that. And okay, then I start to have these hypes. Oh yeah, I was going to that in the other video. The first time I felt that hype was when I started to have this kind of chats with the general, the who was the ex-general of the police in Colombia, ex-general Aldana. I left one day his home, and I will give a hype like I was happy that I spoke with him. I was happy that we'll be talking about interesting things. He was worried because the ex-president Álvaro Uribe Vélez was damaging the democracy. He was worried that the three powers, judicial, executive, and this is the test. Judicial, executive, mm, interesting. We got the judicial of the law, the executive, that is the one that elected. This is the thing that the technology does, uh, and here is where I'm supposed to look stupid. Um, but I will challenge the technology. Simply, just take me a little bit of time till the technology gives up. So, hmm, this is what I do the whole time. Right now, it feels that the technology push another word. So otherwise, when I try to capture the concept, it paralyzes my mind. But in the future, this will make sense. And this is the kind of new humiliations that you have to go the whole day, the whole time, the whole day. And this is the daily. Sometimes I cannot remember my name. Sometimes they don't allow me to remember my phone number. And you feel really stupid when someone asks you for your phone number and you cannot remember it. But this is about controlling the perception on other people. Remember that. I know. I'm gonna just stop it. Mm. Um, People will start to notice how their professionalism will be judged because it's this kind of fascist win. Then this is not about who you are, but how you help them to create one reality for everyone. And you help them in creating one reality for everyone. You will have some perks, but then you won't be free. You won't enjoy critical thinking. You won't be able to to have the the possibilities of yourself being human or the best version of yourself. Okay, legislative, executive, and judicial. But okay, this is a good example of what can happen in this. I just have to Google it, but this is technically this says that I'm not a good social scientist. Not that my career it's just go to hell. But remember, this is about modifying your perception, not mine. I know what I know. Yeah, and I'm sure of that. And this is precisely the modification of perceptions of people who doesn't have critical thinking. Then, because for me it's a habit. It's a habit, critical thinking. Usually I don't filter something if I'm not checked twice, 30 times, etc. But right now, apparently, most of the information that you see online is created by, um, most of the information on the internet is created by, okay, it's now. And so there is a good chance to create new markets of truth and good, real kind of journalism. But then you something like that, something like this kind of slavery would happen to you. That's why I say that these people are fascist. But okay, which is different to Nazism. No? This is fascism. It's the imposition of reality. I cannot create my reality. I cannot modify my reality. They impose what is, should be under their conception. Now, uh, yeah, I spoke with the ex general. I started to have a hype, and I was like, I never feel that. Yeah, I never feel that kind of hype. Cool. But I remember being aware of what was going on in my mind at that time. Now, I met my friends who were in the mm, Communist Party at that time. I don't remember. I think I met them afterwards. Yeah, I met them afterwards. But before that, I only knew one of the persons there. But it's not like we were super friends. Like we know each other because we used to always be in the same school. That's all. Myself, at least, I was not interested in politics at that time. Not much, not so much. Cheap, I don't know. I have no idea. But one of my friends. But okay. Now, uh, this kind of situation is possible to create if you have already 4G. 4G is a quite sophisticated technology. With that, you can already modify certain waves, parts of your brain. You can excite neurons, etc. Blah blah blah. And you don't need, we are talking about zeros, ones, and low, low energy. This kind of cups seems to be induced, especially because I'm talking about how the technology works. It's very um, fucking annoying. But for you, because you don't know what's going on, this is new for you, you cannot understand. But again, if you knew AI, if you knew neuroscience, if you knew biology, if you know radars, technology, electromagnetism, telecommunications, you will be like, oh, obvious, this is the thing to do if you know all these fields. Okay, but we are talking about zeros, ones, electromagnetic waves that are energy-wise inexpensive. We are talking about computing power that for which you only need the identification of whatever signal the radar detects, then is not so power consuming as you would think. The main problem, the main problem is not money, is not computing power. We are talking about in 2005, 2006 to 2007, whatever, between 2005 and 2000. Oh no, sorry, that's my bad. Between I was in the, okay, I'm gonna be exact in that. That's late 2008 or early 2009, something like that. No, something like that. I don't have no idea. Okay, but at that time, the main problem is not computing power, not energy, not the devices. not the technology, not the information. The main problem with this technology is the software. Okay, the software. Yeah, it will be the most difficult thing to achieve for this thing to work. So, yeah, but everything else will be a piece of cake. Yeah, but again, okay, but then I start to feel another kind of stimulation here in Australia. In the school that I used to study English, I met these two people, one Colombian who say that he has the nationality in Canada, one Mexican that say that he had the nationality in Colombia too, like dual nationality. But these guys, I during that time I start to experience as well weird stuff like hypes and things like that. But I remember one of the hypes that happened is that I saw one of these guys. We went twice for some drinks, but I used to not drink, so I'd never drink with them. But they will invite me. They thought this guy is cool, I guess, and then they invite me to have some drinks, and they were like, hey, like in Colombia it's normal, bring your friends and so on. I bring a friend of mine, and yeah, she will be. I don't know. She enjoyed the night with us. We went for a few drinks. Then yeah, I went out with them probably twice. They did not have much to do. They were like, I came here to study, but I'm not really study. I just want to make money, something like that. They were saying to me, I was like, okay, okay. But okay, cool people. I was probably 22. They were over 30. But since I was 15, I had been going out like with people way older than me, and so cool. Then I stopped to speak with them, and one day I was in bed. We were about to go to sleep with my ex-girlfriend. I was checking my phone, and then I saw the news. This thing about the algorithm pushing you that precisely to you, casualty. It's like casually you watch the news in which there is someone who in them in the main image of the news, and then they show something like Colombian band trafficking with diamonds make I don't know $1-2 million in blah, blah, and there is the picture of the guy, the Mexican guy I used to I hung out with, but I hung out with like twice, and then but at that time I didn't know. Okay, the algorithm is showing me this specifically to me. Yeah, because again, if you don't own anything to anyone, if you are a good citizen, you should not be afraid of your own government. You should not be afraid of the law. You should not be afraid of being attacked by an army. You should probably, at that time, I was probably being afraid of maybe, I don't know, a dictatorship, an autocracy that will hinder the liberties and will suppress democracy. But it came to be the opposite now, yeah, which is very interesting. Then the algorithm just showed me that, and I was like, I was, I, I elbowed my ex-girlfriend. Look, this is the guys I told you I met. Blah blah blah. They are like it says that they are robbers and they were trafficking, and I was like, oh, this is crazy. And I start to have a hype. Like I called the police. Like, oh, okay, I saw these guys that appear in the news, and I hung out with them like a couple of times. I couldn't even speak when I called, and the hype. My ex-girlfriend was like, calm down, calm down, calm down. And I remember like I did not calm down because I did not thought about what's going on in my mind. During that time, something else happened. Is the situation in which I got angry. at her, and then I was like, okay, what just happened? I got angry at her. This never had happened in any of my relationships. And then I start to be more mindful about my anger. But excitement, where should I shut down excitement? It should be happy, no? But uh, but okay, I called the police, the women on the phone. She was laughing, and it's like, calm down, don't worry. They they had already caught, so give me your details in case whatever. And so, oh, this is incredible because yeah, I never thought I will be in the news. Whatever. That's it. Nothing else happened. Also, during that time, I don't know what was the situation, but when I was uh, then, yeah, another weird stuff. People, there were people approaching me like, hey, could you do this kind of stuff? Could you are Colombian? Could you get me um, a chemical, how is it, a chemical engineer to do cocaine? I have some cocaine paste, no, that's the coca leaf paste. I got coca leaf paste. I just need um, um, a chemical engineer to make cocaine here in Australia. I was like, no, man, you're asking the wrong person. Why I think that happened? Because if they had access to the microphone in my mobile phone or the mobile phone of my friends in Colombia, I have this friend, super smart. Um, he will be, let's say, a little bit um, de- disillusionate with life. I know a little bit. He suffered a lot. He grew up without his parents. Um, as far as I know, the guerrillas, or the paramilitaries, I can't remember, killed both her father and her mother. And then he grew up as a kind of orphan. And we were studying in the same university, but he was very intelligent, you know. I remember that I'll come back with the stupid questions, and he always will bring an answer, even if it was something stupid. He will put some mental effort and bring that forward. What is quite smart, but his ego was bigger, but quite smart. I mean, he had a lot of fucking skills, you know. Like it's not, but we never get on well. But just at the very end, I think we knew that we're not gonna see each other, and then he kind of opened up. I think he was not had been a kind of easy task with him because his ego was not there anymore. And then we started to talk about the things that we like each other, yeah. And he had he wanted to. It's very interesting. I think he studied chemical engineer just because it was the most difficult thing to do for him, and he would also, yeah, in McDonald's we were working. He will be uh, also uh, a kind of manager because it was the most difficult thing to do. So then he will have this mindset, and I was more like a chill. Let's learn stuff. Let's chill. Just talk bullshit. I don't know. Then he taught me one day. Yeah, I was telling him about engineering. He will teach me about chemistry, and yeah, we were talking about this kind of situation of, I think in the news, there was a time in which they will kidnap the chemicals engineers from the universities and they take them to the jungle so they could manufacture cocaine. And we were talking about that, and my friend was like, they don't teach us that in the university. And I'm very pissed off because, yeah, if I'm a chemical engineer, then I should be able to do this stuff, even if I want to do it or not. But it's It's like for me, as an electrician who know all this stuff, I should know a little bit of technicalities about how this technology works. Yeah, but we were talking about that, and then he told me something like, you know, I have to learn at some stage how to do that. Not because I want to make money, not because I want to be an narco trafficker, but it's because of the cognitive challenge of how it is. And I was like, I had no idea what he was talking about. And he will say, it's a complex process, not how you make it, because the formula will be easy to get, but what's the chemistry that happened there, he will tell me. And again, I wouldn't know anything about chemistry. Chemistry is one of the worst subjects in, that I always was, not inclined to do. But I remember then I start to learn about physics, quantum mechanics, and so, and then oh fuck, chemistry is physics. Oh my god! Oh no, everything makes sense. Okay, yeah, because otherwise it doesn't make sense. But okay, then yeah, so maybe they had that information from my phone and then say they sent someone here just to try to incriminate you, just to make some bullshit kind of situation in which you swap numbers with them because they are just save my number, set my number, whatever, and they can create bullshit on it and they can send this kind of information or present it to an operator to say, this guy know these guys. He is they could have say he's an extreme left guerrilla fighter, whatever. And then I do believe when people discover, oh no, actually he seems not to be a guerrilla fighter. No, no, now you have advanced to the next level of the onion, and happens that look this new information. He's a extreme right wing person, and then the operators will be like, oh my god, and I'm one step forward. Oh, it's incredible. And then they will create more layers of bullshit. So I do believe, yeah, if I were a kind of a spy or something like that, I must have been, at the moment, I must be a spy from the Atlantida, the lost city, because no one else knows anything. Because you create just bullshit out of real information, depending on how you present the information. One makes sense for the other, and you assume that the others are stupid, and then some people know for sure who I am, and then you bring this kind of bullshit, and then you try to mix up the word and mess up all the shit together. And obviously, for some people, it wouldn't make sense. But now, when I put all these pieces together, what happened, the algorithms, what have been happening, and knowing that they target me so early, I can start to make sense about this. And it's like a fucking hell, why they would have done this to me? If I always want the best for Australia, if I always have respect this country, if have always love these people. I mean, I don't want to put myself right now and saying that I'm the best Australian or something like that, but definitely I've done the best I can always. Okay, I'm gonna leave it there for now.